internet as Shelabobby, and this is my podcast where I talk about knitting, crochet, cross stitch lately, and of course, yarn and acquisitions. Today should be a fairly short episode. You know better than I do, just because I don't have too much to talk about. It has been my normal 2 weeks since my last episode, but I've been really focusing on two main projects, and because of that, some of my other things have not been touched, but I do have one finished object for you, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with finished objects. This is a cowl, and it's a test knit, so I'm going to show you the yarn first. The yarn that I'm using is Alpaca Warehouse. It is 100% superwash wool, and the colorway is 3988. If it will focus on that, there we go. You'll be able to see that. So this is a yarn that my friend gifted me for Christmas. I had 3 balls of it, and I miscalculated for this test knit, and so I ran out of yarn. I was literally binding off with my yarn ends for that I tied the balls together. So I was literally using those to bind off. So I used every bit of yarn that I had. So I am a little bit short on the pattern, but the pattern does say knit to your preferred height, so it's not like I failed the test. What is the test? What is the pattern? So this is the Anthemium, I believe I'm saying that correctly, cowl. And I had started it last time that I recorded, and I only had the cast on. It was literally the start of it. And everything went great with this. I enjoyed the pattern. I knit the hat. I test knit her hat in this pattern as well. She has a pullover, a sweater, and socks, as well as the hat. I believe the sweater is in DK. That's what this is. And the hat's in fingering weight, I know. And the socks, obviously, or not obviously, the socks are in fingering weight as well. And the cowl is in DK and fingering weight. So I am test knitting the DK weight, and definitely recommend it. I am not a cowl person that I know of. This is my first cowl that I've ever made. And I'm going to use this for donations. So I have some donations that I've been collecting up for Knit the Rainbow, and I'm going to pass those along as soon as they open up for donations. But let's talk about pattern. This is not blocked yet. I finished this yesterday. Yeah, I finished this yesterday. I was casting off yesterday, and we had a marching band competition last night, so I was not able to block it and get it on blocking boards. So that's what I'll do after I record. But as far as measurements, everything is good to go. And if I would have been able to finish the last few rounds, I would have been able to get the recommended height. So everything was good with that. So what happened is this is a certain number of rows. It's the same as this section right here. And when you finished the ribbing section, you would bind off. So I was about half of the ribbing section before I ran out of yarn. So not a big deal. Some of the testers only did like 3. So again, in the pattern it says knit to your preferred. I'm going to put this on. Like I said, I am not a cowl person, so I don't know how to style this. Do not judge me if it is funky, but it is a 100% superwash wool. So I mean, it is woolly, but I'm just looking in the viewfinder to kind of, I don't know how to style cowls. It's to keep your neck warm. But obviously you can, pull it up if you're in the colder areas and keep it nice and toasty, or just have it relaxed, kind of like a scarf. But this is, again, going to go for donations up to where it is cooler, and people need that. We don't have that cool of weather in North Carolina, typically, maybe a week or two, a day or two. But yes, so gonna wash this up. After I get some finished object photos of it, I will package it up and get it ready to be shipped off for donations. But this pattern should come out next month, I believe. I know that it has a fingering weight version and a DK weight version, but I don't know if it's going to be one pattern or two patterns. That hasn't been specified. But if you enjoy Cowls, this is a quick and easy knit, and a good use of 2 skeins of DK. Like I said, I had 3 balls, so I only had 150 grams. If I had the full 200, I would have had no issue. So that is the finished object. Let me tell you the details about this. This is the Anthonyum Cow by Rowo and Cades. I don't even know if I told you who the designer was, but it was cast on October 4th, and I cast it off yesterday, October 18th, and I'm well within the test date. I think the 29th is when we're supposed to be finished up. So I'll block that, get all the measurements and pictures that I need, and give her the feedback. I knit this on US 6 4mm needles. I used my ChowGoo original Forte, so the original wooden ones. I did that because why is the word gone? The stainless steel ones, I did not have a US 6 available, so I just knit them on my wood ones. I don't typically prefer wooden needles over metal needles, but I do have that set, and I use them for usually for things that I need it to be a little bit more sticky. So if it's a slippery yarn, that one wasn't slippery. It was, okay, but there are metal elements to the needle. Does all of that matter? I don't know. Anyway, that is my only finished object. I was looking over there and I contemplated not even recording, but next weekend is SAF, so I won't be home next weekend to record because I will be shopping until I literally drop. So expect a SAF haul and video. I might try and record some like B-roll and things like that of the area, and I'll let you know my experience like it was in 2022. I think that's when me and Mom went last. Let you know how things have improved or not improved. I don't know if my niece is going with me. There's still up in the air for that. She's trying to decide if she wants to take her test later and go with us or stay and take her test at school. Completely up to her. We're fine either way. Anyway, be looking forward to a haul video of that, all the delicious goodness that I get there, and then I'll record a podcast the following week on my normal 2-week schedule. Right, so let's talk about works in progress. I almost said finished objects. I'm not going to update you on my blankets this week because I barely touched them. I know that I did get about 15, you might be saying that's 15 rounds on rows on a blanket, on my corner to corner baby blanket, but it's the same color you saw last time. So it's not really that much progress, an inch maybe. So I'll save that one for next time so you can see some really good progress on it. Hopefully I will have finished the repeat and made the decision on if I'm going to lengthen it or make it taller, or if it's going to be a square. So we might be at the halfway point next time. We'll see. My anthology throw, I only put in 2 rounds over the 2-week period because I was working on the Anthonyum Cow and my Mystery Gnomes, which we'll talk about. So those are the 2 projects that I had most of my focus on. I didn't have a ton of knitting time over the past 2 weeks. We've been playing Roblox, of course, and that takes up time. So yeah, not too much time for other projects because I was doing those focus ones. Let's talk about socks first. Let's get right into the whips. This is in a bag by the Little Gray Girl. I picked this up when I picked up Martin's of Knit 365. He had what do you call that? Like a community skein, like a skein of yarn that was dyed for his community. And I picked that up and I grabbed this bag as well. This is kind of since it's a very squishy bag, this is kind of my out and about bag. I've been taking this to football games for Friday Night Football. We had our last home game this past Friday. And so we won't have any more football games unless they have the playoffs, which I'm not sure. Is it playoffs? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I'm learning about football. Anyway, I feel like I am going like 10 miles an hour. 10 miles? 100 miles an hour? Sorry if it's like a lot. Anyway, I will try to slow down and concise my words. We won't have another football game unless they have like a championship football. But I've been bringing it because now it's marching band competition. We had one yesterday for my nephew and their team won overall. Great job. And so that's what I'm taking these socks for, is, you know, sitting on a bleacher. It's probably disgusting and dirty. It did also fall in the dirt a couple of times. Even the skein of yarn came out. So these socks would definitely need to be washed. I cast these on at a football game, and this is using Super Glow fibers in her Chapel Roan collection, which is After Midnight, and this is a DK weight. I mentioned in my last video that I did not like the feel of this yarn, that it was odd, but I've gotten over that. I don't know if maybe my hands were dry due to a change in weather or what, but it's not bad anymore. There's no major issues. Again, if you see any dirt or, you know, veggie matter in this, it is due to it being rolled around in the dirt one time. But this is this skein of yarn, and I did quite a bit on Friday night on these because it was very cold. When I say very cold, like 48 degrees, and you know, we're outside watching football. So I did quite a bit of work on them. I picked up the gusset or did the heel flap and heel turn, picked up the gusset, and I have one more decrease before I am doing just the foot. I think I also finished the cuff. I did a couple rounds on that. The last time you saw this sock, I think I was way up here. So I just started the cuff of it. This sock is going to be for my nephew. I am considering my DK weight socks now a custom formula because I've combined a whole bunch of different elements from a DK weight sock into this. But if you want one, a good pattern to follow and the closest to this would be the DK weight vanilla socks from the Crazy Sock Lady. It's a free pattern. And I'm doing in between what she would call the medium and large. I'm doing a custom count for my nephew. I did a little bit of a longer leg than I typically do for my DK weight socks, just because he likes a longer leg, and I don't actually know the length of the foot yet. He's grown a lot, so I gotta ask him his foot length. But yes, he was sitting with me at the football game when I cast these on, so these are for him. So this is a US 3.25 millimeter. I can never remember that one. 3.25 millimeter needle, and I'm still on the first sock. So ways to go there, but this is kind of my out and about knitting. I'm not too worried about keeping that going quickly. I'm gonna toss that over there so it can go on my whip cart when I'm done. The next socks you have seen, and I do have one still done. I have not finished these yet because I was focusing on the cowl and the gnomes, but these are my coastal water socks. This is a pattern also by Roro and Cades, and this is a toe-up sock, and I finished one. I'll show you the second one in a minute and the yarn, but she has a make-along that she does every 2 months, so the make-along lasts 2 months for each pattern, and I believe she's going to continue it into the next year. It is done on Instagram, but she picks one of her patterns. You can knit that pattern in that 2 months, and then you can enter for prizes if you'd like. I think I've participated in all of them but one, and that was at the beginning of the year when my brain could not comprehend anything more than knitting. Like straight stockinette, plain vanilla socks, or dishcloths. So this is my finished one. These socks are for me. I am still getting used to toe up, and I accidentally did not trust the pattern and knit an extra repeat. So it's about 8 rows, 3/4 of an inch too long for my foot, but that's fine. They're house socks. They're for me. I don't care. This yarn is, gotta find the tag, Long Dog yarn in her yak sock base. And the colorway is the Big House. This is a Outlander colorway. Don't know the reference because I don't know the series or the book, so I don't know what the reference is to, but this yarn is gorgeous. So here it is in the cake. I saved this yarn specifically for one that was like a simple lace pattern, and this is it. So I think where I was last time, I had just done a repeat or two on this one. So I have finished the foot, and I am now on the increases for the Fleagle heel. I do like the Fleagle heel. It is very nice and probably my preferred heel for toe up. So I will be using that in the future as well. So I am just a few rows into that heel, but that is where I'm at. These need to get done because I think we have to be done with these on the 29th as well. And today is the 19th. So I have 10 days to get this sock done if I want to enter for prizes. Not too concerned about that. I think I've only entered for the actual prize once. Not that big of a deal, but I do want to complete them so I can start the next socks when she announces that pattern. My little ghosties backwards. There we go. This is actually an earring by Oh That's Neat, who actually does like jewelry and things like that. But I like to use her earrings as stitch markers. So I think I got a mystery pack last year and this ghosty was in there. So that is all for that one. These will be my main focus coming up this week to get them done. We leave on Thursday, so hopefully I can get these done by Thursday so I can cast on a new sock and have a brand new fresh sock. That was how that was gonna go. Cast on for my trip. Toss that over there as well. So that leaves me with gnomes. So I am doing the mystery gnome along for Halloween. It is Numpkin and Nettle. I am doing both Numpkin and Nettle. And I understand if you have not gotten to clue 5, you may not want to be spoiled on how they look. So if you do not want to see my gnomes, I'm gonna put it on this side because there's more room. Go to this time in the video if you don't want to see the gnomes and you want to skip to my next whip and finishing off. So go there if you don't want to see it because I'm going to show you clue 5 for Nettle, and I am on clue 4 for Numpkin. So I'll give you a second to click that while I get them ready. I'm going to show you my colors for Nettle first. So there's Numpkin and Nettle. One is a witchy one if you aren't familiar with it. Nettle is the witchy one. Numpkin is the like traditional pumpkin gnome. I've never made any of her gnomes. I will be. You'll see in acquisitions here in a bit. I'll be making some more. But this is my first gnome, my first gnome along. Actually, my first mystery knit along. So it's fun. I'm loving it. These are my colors that I'm using. This color is the hat color. I don't know what she like considers the differences in there, but I know that the dark blue is the hat color, the sagey green is the body color, and this is the accent color, which is, in her words, like the nose, the beard, like the fleshy bits, I guess. So those are my colors. She did instruct us to have 2 balls for Nettle, and I don't know why. There's only one more clue left, so I'm assuming it's in the last clue that we need that, because it hasn't been needed yet. But anyway, that's why I have 2 balls for Nettle. Clue 1, you saw one of them in my last video, but I completed the other one. They are what everyone is calling little legs. So they're just 2 separate pieces with yarn to sew them in. And mine curve, which I'm not bothered by, that's where I carried up the yarn. I could block that section or steam block them, but you'll see in a minute where these I think are going, and I don't think it's going to be a problem. The Next bit is the completed clue 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if you don't want to see it completed, last warning. So I completed clue 5 for her today. So I believe this is where it is going to point. I still want to work a little bit on how that little notch is going to work, but we have stuffed her, and I chose to pull her pumpkin ridges quite taut. So you decide how much tension you want in each of these ridges, and I decided I wanted her to be a little chunky squat girl, and that's what I'm going with for her. For Numpkin, I think I'm going to try and do more of a tall pumpkin, so he'll be taller and she'll be squat and short. We do have these stitch markers on the bottom, and I believe that is where the legs are going to be attached. So I think her little legs are gonna like do like this. I cannot hold them correctly, like, you know, dangle. It's gonna be adorable. They're gonna have little dangly legs. But anyway, that is completed clue up to clue 5 for her. It's like, no, I will not focus on this adorable pumpkin. I do have to get some more stuffing. I was hoping I wouldn't have to, but I think I'm going to have to get some more stuffing for Numpkin, because I only have about half of what I used for Nettle's pumpkin body, and they have the same size body. So that is Nettle. She's done. The other clue, the next clue will come out tomorrow, so I might be behind if I can't get Numpkins done tonight, because I really want to do some cross stitch. You'll see that in a bit too. But let's look at Numpkin. So Numpkin is still at completed clue 4. So I haven't done clue 5 at all for him. I got stuck on my counter here. Let's show you the yarn first. Gosh, all tangled up. There we go. So I am attached to the orange, but for Numpkin, the dark brown is the hat color, the orange is the body color, and then this gray is the accent color. These are all random minis that I have had in my stash, so I don't know who they belong to. I can't find my other little leg. I'm sure it's still in the bag, but this is the leg, so it's a little bit different than Nettle's in the striping, but everything else is pretty much the same. And then his hat is different as well. So we did block the hats before attaching the body color. So this is Numpkin. And then I just need to finish Numpkin's body. And I will probably get started on that while I'm editing this video, because it's just some straight knitting with a purl stitch every once in a while for those ridges. And we'll get started on their body. I think this clue is probably the longest one, but I don't know for sure. I was doing it in the car yesterday when we were driving to the band competition, so I don't know if because I was chatting it felt like it took longer, but I feel like each of these clues, if you're curious, for me, each of these clues have taken about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and I think this one took me like 2 hours and a half. So like I said, it's a little bit longer, but as far as like the amount of knitting, it's fairly easy to separate those and get them done in the time available. The clue 5 came out on Friday, and I didn't get started on it until Saturday last night when we were on our way to the competition. So I missed 2 days basically of knitting time on this, just because I wanted to get the cowl done, all of that stuff, football games, so I just wasn't able to work on it. So if you were only doing one of them, it is, I think, fairly generous for the amount of time you have to work on the clue. So that is all for them. I will work on this one, and then the final clue, from what I understand, is what comes out tomorrow. So I assume that's the little additions, like nose, sewing it up, sewing everything up together. I don't know what else would be included in a gnome. Like I said, never made one. Beard, I assume, will make one of those. But yeah, just their finishing bits, I assume, will come out tomorrow. So that is all the knitting works in progress. I do have a few acquisitions, but I want to talk about my new cross stitch. So in the last episode, I finished my cross stitch, which was a birth sampler, and I said I wanted to start a new one, and I did. So this is a stitch along. So I'm going to put up a warning here just in case I'm way behind on this. This is the Holiday House by Satsuma Street, and there are 6 total parts. 4 parts have been released. I think the last part was released on Thursday of this past week, which would have been part 4. I am currently stitching on part 2 because part 2 starts in the bottom right corner. So I'm stitching on part 2 just so that I could start in a corner rather than in the center, which part 1 did. And it is just basic parts of a house that have Christmas themes on them. I'm not going to share what the chart looks like, so if you don't want to see like what the full chart looks like, you don't have to worry. I'm just going to continue making it, and you guys can learn along with me what it's going to look like. If you aren't interested in cross stitch, you can just see it build in a pretty picture. So there are 2 more parts left to this, which is the top 2 parts of the house. I'm in the bottom left, not right, bottom left corner. So I'm using for the first time a hand-dyed cross-stitch fabric. I think it was February, I decided to sign up for Be Stitch Me. She does a monthly hand-dyed fabric. And so I signed up for it to just get some fabrics for these types of projects where if I just want to start them, I have fabric ready to go, whether that be a small project or a quite larger one. So I'm doing the 1/4 yard, and I'm doing 20 count Aida. This particular one was the July fabric of the month, and it was What the Hay. I can actually just show you the other ones, because they are in the drawer right here. I am doing it's going to be crinkly, sorry. I'm doing the mixed monthly. So one month I'll get a neutral, the next month I'll get a brighter color. So I have a mix of different colors. So I have September, I have May, August, June, and April. I already said April. So I guess April was when I started it. Yeah. So here's one of the first ones that I got. And then there's June. Like I said, I'm using July's neutral. There's another one of the colorful ones, Jack-o'-lantern. I considered this one when picking the fabric for this. And then it was between the 3 neutrals that I wanted, because they recommend not white, because you're going to be stitching white stitches on the fabric that would need to show up separately. You'll see it's snow. But you also didn't want it to be too yellow, because you're also going to have yellow on the stitches. So what I did is I did a floss toss, which is where you kind of like put your floss on the fabric and see how it matches. And this What the Hay that I'm using matched the least with the yellows. The Grog one, which is the one I really wanted to use, is the exact same color as one of the floss colors. So that's why this one did not get picked. And then this one was just a little bit too purpley. It just didn't put the right vibe. So I went with What the Hay. So here it is. And it's just like a soft mottled yellow. And then I used a water-soluble marker that I've gotten for cross-stitching, and I marked my beginning section here and have just been working, picking a color, winding it on a bobbin, and then stitching as much as I can with that thread in the time I have. So this is a beginning of a plant pot here. So this will be a green tree pot. This is a sleigh that's going to go here, and then the house is behind it, and I think it has a Christmas tree with like a gnome or an elf, probably an elf, decorating it. So that's the first section, and then the center section is the door of the house, and it has 25 above it for 2025, and in the door is a nutcracker. So that's going to go, I believe it starts like right here. This is like where the steps will start. This is like the center of the chart here. So then it goes on the other side, and there's a window with some snowmen. And then I don't remember what's on the next one, the last one that came out on Thursday. Because I don't think I've actually downloaded that section yet. Anyway, that is the cross stitch so far, and I'm going to work on this afternoon. Here's the back of my cross stitch. I'm trying to keep it as neat as possible while also not cutting my yarn every time, because that would have been annoying for these little 3 stitches here. So I did carry that, but yeah, I'm loving it so far. And this hand-dyed fabric, so flippin' soft. I have just been using Aida that came in a kit, or just like Zweigart, I think is what most of the Aida that I've been using, but this is so soft. It's just very, very nice to work with. Yeah, 20 count I think is the smallest count. The bigger number you get, the smaller the stitches are. I think this is the smallest count that I've worked on. I have to have my light. You can see the reflection of it in the window there. I have what I call the claw, because I have the little Toy Story alien attached to it. You know, the claw from Toy Story. But I do have an overhead lamp that I do use when I'm working on this, just so that I'm not stressing my eyes too much. And I listen to a book, which right now is Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I think I only have about 3 more hours left on that one, so I'll get a good chunk of that done while working on this afternoon. So that is my cross stitch. I'm going to leave it out behind me, because after I edit, that's my evening project. Very excited. I wanted to do it yesterday some, but me and my niece played Grow Garden 99 Nights, Dress to Impress, so did not have any cross stitching time. All right, that is all the whips, all of the actual projects. I just have acquisitions left, which is fairly small. I got my monthly Crypts, Myths, and Legends from Fangirl Fibers. You should have this one already, so I'm not gonna worry too much about warnings. This is the DK Weight, and it is the colorway Jackalope. I will likely make myself socks with this one because I love it. That is that one. I did get a order from Ruby and Roses, and this is going to be hard to show. She did a re-release of her Taylor Swift collection, and I liked her recoloration of Reputation. Yeah, it is not going to show it too well. But it is a very, very dark green, blue, and purple. In lightings, it just looks black, but like you can see, there's a little bit of variegation in the colorway there. But yeah, so I got that on her Soft Rose 8515, and just gonna make socks. It was just a random purchase for that one. I also got my Advents. They're down here. I am having 2 indie dyed Advents and 1 Advent swap with leftover scraps. So I need to get my Advent ready for them. I'm going to reuse the bags from my homespun house so that they're numbered and pretty and cute. So I'm going to reuse those. I need to get those out, start picking my yarns, winding them up. But I did receive my 2 indie dyed ones. So I have Ruby and Roses again this year for my mini skeins. So that's 24 minis and a 25. The 25th one is a full size, if I remember correctly. So I have that one. That one came yesterday. And then Friday, my 4 full skein advent came from Corner of Craft, which is now just... Why can't I think of it? Corner of Craft. She changed it. Sorry, it's very crinkly. Chromatic Yarns. I was like, I can't think of what she's changed. She changed her name recently from Corner of Craft to Chromatic Yarns only. She was both of them, and now it's just Chromatic Yarns for the yarns. So I did get my 4 skein. I got the Apothecary one. So both of those came in. So my advents are pretty much covered. And then I'll ship my swap one later. That is all for those, but I did get my Gnomes of Grimplewood book. I've been mentioning it since we started these gnomes that I had asked for this book for Christmas and was excited to get it, but my mom, who purchased it for me, she actually gave it to me for my birthday. So I just recently got this and looked through it, and I am very excited to make the gnomes. I'm going to show you this page here because it is magical. I cannot wait to make them. But yes, I think there's 8 gnomes from what I remember. But I now have this book and I have plans to make all of them. So I will work through those little by little using my scraps and things like that just to make them fun and colorful. But I have the book now. It's going to go on my bookshelf of knitting books and going to make those. I do have a question for you guys. If you've made it this far, maybe you have some information. I'm using polyfill for the gnomes, to fill the gnomes. I try my best, especially with the little keychains that I'm making for my niece. I'm stuffing them with yarn ends, like my little, cut off yarn ends, so that I'm not, using polyfill because it's just plastic. So I would like to have an alternative to polyfill. I don't know if there is a more natural filler. Obviously yarn ends is just, a waste product from my knitting. But if you guys have a suggestion for things, I know some people have said cotton balls, like buying cotton balls from the store and fluffing them out and using that. So I've considered that. That's not too bad. I could find some cotton balls at like Sam's Club at a good price. But let me know your suggestions on those. And then I know you need weighted filling. I think she has like a list of things that you can use, but if you have suggestions for the weighted ones, these in particular, these gnomes were mentioned that you don't need weighted polyfill, so I haven't worried about that at all. But I think that is all. I'm going to get to editing this and working on Numpkin, finishing his body, and then I will be doing some cross stitches. I'm very excited. Oh wait, I have to do farm chores first. That's what we call the chicken chores. I have to go clean their bedding before I can be relaxing. But all is well. All is good. Excited to go to SAF. If you are going to SAF, let me know. If you see me there, please feel free to say hello. We are going Friday and Saturday to SAF. So we'll be there shopping till we drop and petting baby bunnies. Not baby bunnies, but they have to be at least 6 weeks old, I think. But I'm very excited to go shopping and to see some of the shops that I'd love to visit. I hope you guys have a lovely time in between the time that we see each other, and I will see you next time. Bye.